For the 20th time, the UCONN Huskies are Big East women's basketball tournament champions. The Huskies rolling past Villanova 70-40 behind a balanced scoring performance and a dominant defensive output. UConn winning the Big East championship. Let's send it over to the stage. Center court, it's Lisa Byington.
Mohegan Sun, it is so good to have fans back in the building for a championship. You guys have been wonderful all weekend. Welcome to the trophy ceremony for the Big East tournament. And I bring in Val Ackerman, the commissioner of the Big East, to present the 2022 Big East Tournament Trophy.
Thank you so much, Lisa. First, I want to commend our runner-up, the Villanova Wildcats, and all of our teams on a hard-fought season and a great tournament. I want to thank the fans. Thank you so much for supporting our women and for helping us celebrate 50 years of Title IX. And now it's my great pleasure to present the 2022 Big East Women's Basketball Championship Trophy to our champions, Coach Gino Auriemma, these amazing women, your staff, and the UConn Huskies. Congratulations, it's your 20th Big East crown.
I'm going to work my way here and find this head coach. This team has gotten used to taking these championship shots, some of them here in this roster. How about that? There you go. It's official. Well, Gino, you have said at times that the challenges here for this team a little bit unprecedented with the injuries, some of the COVID absences. There maybe was a question, could they get to the podium once again? How did you guys navigate through some of the ups and downs of this season?
Well, a couple of the MVPs on our team were, Janelle, our athletic trainer, and our medical staff trying to keep everybody together, in one piece. We never lost, we never lost sight of who we are and what we're trying to do. And some days it was really bleak. You go to practice and you have 5 able bodies that, you can't even go up and down the floor. But we never lost sight of, hey, as long as 5 players show up, we have a chance. And when these guys come back, we start to get whole again. And little by little, we just kept getting better, and that's the thing that I respect the most about this particular group is that we just kept getting better. We kept getting better, and we kept getting better. And they became very unselfish. Not that they weren't before, but they became very unselfish about playing time, about who was starting, who wasn't, who was getting all these minutes, who wasn't. Because when you go from playing 30 minutes and then all of a sudden you're playing 20 or 15, you know, you can react one of two ways. And every one of these guys reacted like the champions that they are. So I'm really proud of them.
You mentioned the adjustments to different roles, and some of those were actually seniors, right? That had to adjust to different roles and playing in their last Big East Tournament championship. What can you say about that class as we turn the page now to the NCAA tournament?
By the time you get to be a senior, you know, it seems like it was yesterday that you were a freshman and you thought you had forever, and now you realize you have 3 weeks, and in those 3 weeks, you can make a legacy for yourself in 3 weeks. So regardless of what's happened the previous 3.5 years that you've been here, you really have a 3-week period when you can become famous. So I think all three of them would love this to end the right way, and I would love nothing better than to help them do that.
All right. Well said, Coach. Thank you. Time now. There were several great player performances, a very balanced offensive attack. You have to make one decision on an MOP, a most outstanding player, and we bring in, again, the Commissioner, Val Ackerman, to present that trophy.
Great leadership, great performance. Kristen Williams, come get your most outstanding player trophy.
You're obviously very well liked. They're calling for a speech, so that means you got to do an interview. You got no choice. You talked to us earlier today after shoot-around. You were trying to put in perspective your career, this being your last conference championship, projecting to the NCAA tournament. You got this team many, many times in this tournament off to the right start. What was your mentality in your final conference tournament?
Just to be aggressive on the offensive end and the defensive end. And you know what? This one is my favorite one, this championship, because of let me tell you why this one is my favorite. This team, man, we've been through so much this year, and we fought through everything, and I'm just super proud of y'all. I'm just super proud of y'all.
Kristen, how did you guys fight through everything this year? How did you fight through everything this year?
We just stuck together. We never gave up, and we just will continue to fight.
Project into the NCAA tournament as you guys are getting healthier. Why is this team a national championship caliber type of team this year?
I guess y'all will have to find out.
We found out here in the conference tournament. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you to UConn. Again, thank you to the fans. 2022 Big East Tournament champs, the UConn Huskies.
We will have much more to come here from Mohegan Sun with the Big East champions, the UConn Huskies, completing another rung on the ladder of their 2022 campaign. The Connecticut Huskies are Big East women's basketball tournament champions. Kristen Williams said, "You'll have to find out in regards to their national title hopes." Tonight, we found out they're the best in the Big East. Taking a look at the bracket, this Villanova Wildcats team put together a valiant run to get to tonight, but UConn, in commanding fashion, rolls to a championship. Welcome to our post-game show, everybody. I'm John Fanta. She is Kim Adams. She is Sarah Kustok. We will have reaction from the Huskies to come. A 30-point win in the Big East title game. It's certainly nothing new for this UConn program, Sarah Kustok. What is it about their championship culture that separates it nationally?
Well, let's just start with the fact that they are loaded with talent, and there's also such a big amount of buy-in. And we've seen it in particular. I think this season was special, as Kristen Williams had alluded to, but just overall for all the challenges that they had to deal with. And now, I think leading to this point, the fact that they were whole, they had the complement of their roster, and there was a tremendous amount of balance. They come into every season with the expectation of winning championships. That's Big East championships, that's NCAA championships. So that is a part of the culture. That's where it starts. It starts at the top with Gino Auriemma, and because it filters down in that manner, I think we just see the meticulous way in which they're able to continue to prepare, continue to execute, and continue to walk away with wins.
Yeah, John, I think Sarah mentioned the balance. That was one of the biggest takeaways from me in this game. Now that they're getting healthy, everybody is back. I think you're starting to see that chemistry really take shape. You're starting to see confidence. I thought the chemistry amongst the three bigs was outstanding tonight. Haas, Nelson Adota, and Edwards, they found each other. They each did a little bit of different things, but I think this balance and the depth that they have coming off the bench is a very dangerous factor as they get ready for the NCAA tournament.
In a season where this program has had 10 different starting lineups, a record in the Gino Auriemma era, could it end up being beneficial, Kim Adams, for their NCAA tournament hopes?
I completely agree, and we have had conversations with Gino Auriemma about just that. He's mentioned multiple players who they really discovered how good they actually were because of the early season injuries. Caroline Ducharme is somebody in particular. He said she saved us at times. He said AZ saved us at times, and I think ultimately they are better for it. Now getting Paige Beckers back, obviously she is still just starting that path, but I think so many players have elevated their play. Even the seniors, Kristen Williams knowing when Paige Beckers was out, hey, I really have to put the team on my back here, so I think that does make them a better team.
Without a doubt, I do think, though, that's part of just the learning process for not just these players, but Gino Auriemma as well. So often at this point in the season, when they're getting to their third season of the NCAA tournament, an understanding of rotations, combinations, lineup, and roles. And there is such a systematic way that they approach things because of how they normally have continuity, that everyone knows their role and their responsibility. And I think the fluidity of that adds an added layer of a challenge for them, and just different players understanding how can I be just as productive with a different amount of minute, with a different role, with that change throughout the course of a season. And so I do think there will still be a learning process for UConn with a short runway of how they find that out.
Seeing Kristen Williams get yet another trophy to add to her collection. What stood out to you the most about her tournament performance?
I think she said it in her interview, just the aggression and kind of knowing that because of all the change and the adversity and some young stars that sometimes, especially in big moments like this, you need to rely on that veteran leadership, and I think she has a great cognizance about her. I think she can impact the game in different ways. We've seen at times she goes and gets her own buckets, she sets the tone of the game, and at other times she is the one distributing. But I loved her quote there. You'll just have to wait and find out. We enjoyed talking to her today about her journey, and I think she is an incredible leader for them for this upcoming few weeks of the season.
Gino Auriemma getting covered in confetti in this place. It's so wonderful to hear the expression of fans in a building celebrating a title again.
Well, think about last season. I mean, we were all here, and while, you know, it was special that the tournament was able to take place, it was special that some family and friends were able to be here. This packed house, the energy that we felt, and it wasn't not just about this title game, but throughout the course of the entire tournament, and it was UConn fans, it was fans from other schools. Everyone was so engaged and excited about what these women were doing on the floor, and that's the special part of it, being able to share and watch in the growth and in the continued exposure of just how talented and how good so many of these individuals and these teams are.
Yeah, we were speaking to some of the coaches and players entering this tournament, and they just couldn't believe how nice it was to be able to leave their rooms. When we were here last year, they were under such strict protocols. They weren't allowed to go out and get food, coffee, whatever. And then to have the fans here, like Sarah said, they didn't just show up for UConn. They were staying for the 4 games of the quarterfinals, the 3 first-round games, taking over Mohegan Sun. Incredible atmosphere for the players.
Over the last 72 hours, we've had the opportunity to get that all-access pass to the Huskies. And you both played college basketball. Sarah, you at DePaul. Kim, you at Penn. I'm curious, peeling back the curtain, Sarah, what do you see in Gino Auriemma that relays so well to his players?
Where do we begin? I mean, he's on like multiple Hall of Fame careers, but I think just his ability to communicate so effectively. He is a brilliant basketball mind, but the demands of his players to make them be their best is something that you don't come to UConn without wanting that type of coaching, without striving to be the very best. And he just, it's so much of the way in which he understands how to resonate with players, and it's a lot of tough love, as we have seen and we continue to see, but it is just the growth of players. And Kristen Williams was an individual, as we talked to her this morning after shoot-around, she made a joke about the relationship she had and how it's grown, and she said, Gino hasn't changed. I've changed and matured, but you know that he is the ultimate when it comes to his knowledge of the game and his ability to get across just what he sees. And give credit not just to him, but Chris Daly, the entire coaching staff. I mean, look at that. That is absolutely extraordinary. And it's one, being able to articulate the things you see on the floor. It's another to just identifying the type of talent and the type of character that will help get you those type of achievements.
Yeah, I think also the attention to detail is something that stands out to me, as we told the story on air about Kristen Williams making the same cut a couple times today, and he said, what are you doing? Change it up. And sure enough, she drains a 3, and we looked at each other and you said that's why he is one of the greatest coaches of all time. But I also think, as Sarah touched on, his ability to connect with different players year after year and get them to trust him, because that is a big part of winning at this time of year, is having trust at the top and knowing that they trust you to go out there and perform. And you can just see the way his players interact and respond to him. That trust is there, and it's completely mutual.
And you're around the game all the time, Kim. If it were that easy, everybody would try to do it. That's not something you see every day from a program, that ability to get into a player but have the trust to move forward.
Yeah, and I think, you know, as players, as my mom was a coach, different conversations, there's always different ways to interact with different players. And that is something you find out as a player, and you find out as a coach, whose buttons can you press a little bit more, who can take that tough love, who needs a little bit more nurturing. And that is clearly something he has mastered in his nearly 40 years in stores.
Yeah, and I think that's a part of who you recruit. He knows how to identify the players that he's going to be able to get that out of. And it starts to with just the type of talent and skill that all of these individuals have, but it is the collective nature of when we've talked to any of these individuals, and whether it's throughout the course of this Big East tournament or throughout the course of the season, there's one goal and one goal in mind. It's about winning, and it's about winning championships. And so for those reasons, I think it takes special types of players to be able to buy in to that concept and do whatever it takes, and it's going to be fun to watch. This is one step and one check mark for UConn and what they were looking to accomplish, but there's another big run on the horizon.
We have some of those players ahead on our championship postgame. More to come from Mohegan Sun after this on FS1. Welcome back to Mohegan Sun. The UConn Huskies are Big East women's basketball tournament champions for the 20th time in program history. Take a look at the history of this program. You think about all of the greats through the years, and Gino Auriemma talked about it, leaving your mark both on the conference that is the Big East, both nationally for that national title. Another championship for this UConn Huskies program here tonight. I'm John Fanta. She is Kim Adams. She is Sarah Kustok. Welcome back to our FS1 post-game coverage. And let's think a little bit more about this UConn Huskies team and what's ahead in the NCAA tournament. Kim, What do you think ends up determining how far this team can go?
I think health is obviously a big one. Obviously having Paige Beckers being able to come in and play 30 minutes if they need her, I think is obviously going to be helpful. I think some of the younger players, and we talked to Gino today, you never know how a freshman is going to react in their first NCAA tournament game, but AZ Fudd, Caroline Ducharme have played big-time roles for this team in just their freshman year. So how do they respond when you get to that one-and-done situation, as he called it? And then I think execution on both ends. You obviously need to make shots, but he has really been keyed in on this team getting better on the defensive end, and I think that is going to be big for a run in March.
Yeah, Kim nailed all the points. I mean, that's what it really is. You took it all, Kim, but that's really what it is. And when you think about health, when you think about some of those X factors of AZ Ducharme and Juhas, but to me, Paige Beckers is the one that really will be the indicator of how far this team can go, because this is an entirely different team when she's on the floor. She's been on a minutes restriction, but to me, too, it's even about her mentally, emotionally gaining that confidence in her body, doing the things she's used to doing. And as we watch her throughout the course of these now 5th game that she has been back, she's still a work in progress of getting back to doing the things that she could do. And the most important aspect of why she's a player she is because of her basketball mind. She is brilliant. She is savvy. She has poured so much into her craft, but also a part of coming to the point of where she was playing at is her movements and the fluidity that we see on the offensive side. And so I think for those reasons, that's going to be a big key to where this team can go.
As we see this time of year, there are 2 sides to March. We hear now from the runner-ups, Villanova, Lisa Byington. It's with the Wildcats head coach, Denise Dillon.
Well, never an easy interview to do, so we always appreciate the time. But Coach, you knew that this was going to be a different UConn team than the first one that you faced. They were shorthanded back in February, and they're healthier and stronger now, which is something that we saw here tonight. Ultimately, maybe with the start in the first quarter, what was the biggest difference in that game, the way they began?
Well, I think them just knocking us out of position initially, forcing us to run our offense a little bit higher than we would like out of our natural rhythm. And it came down like we didn't make shots early, and then it just became like that cycle of it's contagious when you're missing shots, when you're making shots. So we didn't make shots early. I thought our effort was really great on the defensive end through the first 3 quarters, but then just caught up to us a little bit of the wear down.
Now you got to sit and wait, right, to see what your postseason fate is. How do you kind of navigate? You got some time between now and when the selection is made for the NCAA tournament. How do you navigate through this time? And maybe this is one last time, right, for you to make a case for Villanova in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, well, I do feel that what we've done since January 1 on really puts us in a position that we should be in the tournament. The league is tremendous. The Big East games, it's a battle each night. UConn has proven year after year, whether they were in the Big East or not at the time, that they are at the top. And I'm going to hold on to, that big win we had, because we talk about us not having Maddie Sechrest for 6 games, and that was crucial timing for us. But when we got her back, put us in a great place, winning a lot of games. And I think we belong in that tournament with the Big East Player of the Year and one of the best in the nation.
Again, thank you for the time. Sure. We really appreciate it. John, we'll send it back to you.
Let's take a deeper look at this Villanova team. You see the net ranking, it is 70. Now, this team has won 20 of their last 23 games. They did not have Maddie Sechrest due to an injury early in the season. They went 3-3 without her. But with Sechrest, they have gone 20-5. So you think about this Villanova team, and Denise Dillon says that she believes they belong in. Kim Adams, do the Wildcats belong in the field of 68?
I think it would be a crime if the Villanova Wildcats are not in this field. The biggest number for me is the 20 wins in the last 23 games. How can you ignore that? Not only that, this is a team that beat UConn on the road. Sure, a couple of the players were not playing for UConn, but that is a win at a top 10 team. And then this is a team that finished second in both the regular season and here in the tournament in the Big East. It would be absolutely disrespectful to the conference if Villanova is not in the 68-team field.
I think so much of the selection committee obviously looking at where the team is at this point. We saw some of those signature wins. And then add in the fact that some of their losses, you look at and this is things that the selection committee does look at, the compression of the schedule at that point, how many games they were playing in a certain number of days, what it lined up like. And I think you can kind of point to that when you look at the losses as well. So overall, I have a hard time believing that Villanova will not make the tournament field. And I think there's a lot of things that you consider, in particular just the health of the team, how they've been playing, and those are the important things at this time of year.
6 days that will feel like forever on that lead into Selection Sunday. That is the drama of March. We're back after this to continue coverage of the Big East tournament. Back here to wrap it up, the confetti flying in Connecticut as the UConn Huskies are Big East tournament champions with a 30-point win over Villanova. Welcome back, everybody. One final segment from Uncasville. We thank our entire crew here for all their work all week. Kim Adams, Sarah Kustak. I'm John Fanta. All right, time for top moments. KA, what do you zone in on?
Obviously, aside from a team hoisting the trophy here tonight, I think we have to revisit that Creighton and Seton Hall quarterfinal game. I think that was the game of the tournament. That was so intense. We were here at 11:30 at night, last game of the day. Of course, Maya Bembry hit the game winner. So for me, that was a big moment. I'm thinking of another one, Sarah. This might be a little painful for you, but the Marquette Golden Eagles, I'm sorry they took down your DePaul Blue Demons, but that was quite an offensive outburst for them.
Hey, you know what? I'm proud of all these teams. And to be honest, my top moments, I mean, our extraordinary Fox Sports crew, this Mohegan Sun crew, and everyone that helped make this happen, the Big East organization, this is tremendous. And us as former college athletes, players, having played at DePaul, and yes, thank you, Kim, for reminding me of that. But these are the moments you live for. This is what you play for. This is what you prepare for when it's, you know, in the middle of June and you're thinking about the things that you are striving for. And so I think it's just a beautiful moment for so many of these athletes to be able to have this stage, and I just appreciate all of you and get a chance to be here with you. This is fun.
Oh, it's a blast.
An absolute blast. And in the 50th anniversary year of Title IX.
So important.
So important. And to see all these players putting on an example in front of these crowds. We had great crowds here, and to see all those young girls on the sidelines, looking up to not only Jonathan the Husky, we all were looking at him, but all these women who serve as such great examples in sports. We want to thank you for joining us. Sarah Kustak, Kim Adams, the wonderful Lisa Byington. It has been great to be with you all week at Mohegan Sun. That wraps up our 2022 Big East Women's Basketball Tournament coverage. We want to remind you that the Big East Men's Tournament begins Wednesday inside Madison Square Garden in what should be quite the battle. For Lisa Byington, Sarah Kustak, Kim Adams, our entire crew, I am John Fanta, as we say thank you for watching and good night from Mohegan Sun. Congratulations to the UConn Huskies, the 2022 Big East Tournament champions. We leave you now with the best moments from another tournament to remember. Now Church with the steal. Deja Church. For three. Barada off to McLaughlin. Can't leave her open. Out to Bembry. Seton Hall takes the lead. 1.9 left. Oh my goodness.
Seacrest, a convincing three-point shot from the wing.
Archibald again. From the corner. The freshman can really play.
With its 20th Big East Tournament Championship.